I just jumped in.
This
What's
is
the
Sam
context?
Shamoun, guys. So
Yeah, what's the
Can I say
context
something?
of the penal code being perfect? What were you discussing?
Well, the brother was giving an example for, people, running away from certain hadith because they don't like it, and he cited, the penal code, and I would agree with him. Many people, many laymen do shy away from learning about the Islamic penal code because, in the West, it's seen as very foreign. Um, but what I really wanted to respond to, the main point was, um, the reason why we don't accept the hadiths that you were showing on screen, like Sahih Bukhari, is because we literally think that it's like a completely different, like, hadith corpus.
Yeah, from the
We,
Shia, right?
yeah, right. So it's not like we're running away from the hadiths because we don't like it. No, we literally don't like have it. It has no value over us. The entire book.
Okay, now let me ask you,
Yeah, go
You are
ahead.
wrong here.
because
You
I
know
need
that.
because I want to ask you a question about your. Give us the name of your most authoritative collection of hadiths. I know that unlike the Sunni, where they say Bukhari is flawless, I know that you don't have a view of your own collections that you think they're all flawless. But the most authoritative collection of narrations for the Shia, what is it called?
That would be Al-Kafi, Al-Sharif.
What year was it compiled?
It was compiled during the time of our 12th Imam.
Yeah, give us the date.
It would be somewhere in, I think, I know the Hijri date is 300 something, 300
Yeah,
400.
300
So
years after the Hijra, right?
yeah, right,
So let's place the Hijra around 622 AD, which is that's
Right.
the date. So
Right,
that means you just said, and everyone heard you. So your most authoritative collection of narrations comes from the 10th century, 900s.
yeah. Well, what
And you don't have a
exactly?
problem with that? So now forget the fact I'm a Christian. Just say I'm someone who's neutral and seeking to decide which religion should I base my trust in.
Okay.
And here you're telling me your understanding of this document called the Quran comes from a collection that's written 300 years after the supposed migration of Muhammad to Medina. But even that migration, the date is dependent on these sources that are centuries removed. So what sources do you have from the lifetime of your prophet that you can document is from his lifetime that I can look to and trust for its historicity? Because if that comes 3 years later, it ain't going to help me.
I understand.
Without
I'll
saying-
answer. I'll answer that. So the Prophet, he said that he left behind two weighty things.
How do you know he said that?
This is known as a mutawatir hadith. There are more than 100 chains.
Okay, Frank, I'm not trying to cut you off.
Yeah.
This mutawatir chain,
Yeah.
you just begged the question. You didn't answer my question. So let's cut to the chase. You're now quoting to me a source that comes 300 years later, where it's multiply attested 300 years later. What I'm asking is, show me from the reported time of your prophet that he said this, not from a document or documents where you have multiple people coming centuries later telling you this is what they heard, the generation before them and the generation before them, generation. What evidence do you have from the 7th century your prophet said this?
Well, the hadiths that are narrated in Al-Kafi don't all they don't all go back to the prophet. They go back to the imams. The majority of the hadiths are from our imams, and the imams are direct descendants from the prophet. Everything they say, it's from. Prove what?
You keep begging the question. Prove to me that these imams are the descendants of Ali by first showing me that Ali existed in the 7th century and married Fatima, not from later sources, but from the first century Hijri. I'm still waiting for this. You keep begging the question.
Al-Kafi is a compilation of hadith. It's
when did it come again? When did it come?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when it was released.
To you, it doesn't matter. To us, it does, because we're not Muslim. We don't share your assumptions.
I'm trying to explain
that. Prove the validity of your hadith collections that comes 300 years later. that we can trust them to tell us what took place 300 years earlier. So stop begging the question. I'm not a Muslim, so I don't share your assumptions. Prove it.
Okay.
I'm asking for historical data from the time when your prophet supposedly lived. In fact, how do you know he lived in the 7th century?
Okay, so like the brother Anamdar said, he said that the Al-Kafi was compiled during the time of the 12th Imam. That was during the presence of an infallible person to overlook it, right?
You believe that, right? I don't think.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
Fraud. Prove it. See, you keep going back to 300 years later, an imam that you think is infallible.
Not 300 years later. It was in the same time of the publication.
It was during the time. It was during the time of the occultation. The
okay.
Ghaiba,
How do you know what time the occultation was? What's your source for it? Where are you getting this?
It's the hadiths from the imams, from the deputies of the imam, the 12th imam.
This hadith that you're reading, when was it written?
During his time. During
What's
the time of
the time?
We already went over this in the beginning.
But your friend here said no, it's not 300 years later, and I'm going with your dating. It is 300 years later. So this hadith is 300 years after the hijrah, right?
You must understand. We're talking about the imams. We're not talking about the prophet.
Yeah, but these imams, the only way you know about them is because of this document that you told me was written down 300 years after the hijrah. So let's try this again. What source do you have from the 7th century telling me that Muhammad existed in the 7th century, migrated to Medina in 622 AD, and he had a son-in-law, Ali? Give me sources from that time period, not 300 years later. What source do you have?
I mean, we would tell you that we believe in. We would tell you that we believe in the Quran. We would tell you that we believe.
No. We want historical sources.
Okay.
Let's not all attack.
Excuse me, what's the question?
Well, if you're asking me what the question is, then you got to go back and rewind. I was talking to. Okay, now let's put the hadith aside. When we go to the Quran, do you believe what the Quran claims for itself? Because I'm going to show you some verses, and obviously you're going to say yes. In fact, let me even be more clear, because I know there are some Shia who think that the Quran they have today. Some, I'm not saying all of you believe this, but there are some Shia who actually think the Quran that you have today is not complete. Are you one of those Shias that believe that it's not complete?
No, everything is authority upon us. Every verse is an authority upon us.
I didn't say that's not what I asked. Friends, let's answer the question that's being asked. I didn't say you reject any verse of the Quran. I said, do you think, as some Shia do, and you know there are Shia who think this, the Quran is incomplete? I didn't say that the Quran you have is not binding on you. Do you think it's incomplete?
Okay, if I can go first. Personally, I believe that the certain interpretations maybe can only be understood through our imams. But I think what we have is, what we have. You may have minor changes in haraka, right? Like the fatha kasra dhamma, but it's complete in vocabulary, words, that sort of thing. But our understanding of it may be incomplete.
Okay, but do you then disagree, as there are some Shia who claim that there were actually statements in the Quran referring to Ali that have been removed? Do you think that there were statements about Ali in the Quran that we don't find today?
Yeah, I can give you an example.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Say it slowly. You're saying too fast. Yes, you do agree, because we want to hear you. Okay. Yes, you do agree there were statements about Ali in the Quran that have been removed?
Okay. As Shias, we believe that the tafsir, the understanding of it, is still a part of the Quran in a way. So, us saying we believe in tahrif of Quran, distortion of the Quran, could also imply we believe that the commentary in the Quran was distorted. So, what I've actually understood from the scholar Alama Majlisi, when he said something was removed from Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, such as the ayah or the verse that explains that he is the commander of the believers, was removed. I believe that he meant that.
Say that slowly. Young man, say that slowly, because you're saying it fast. Okay, you just said that there was an ayah in the Quran saying that
Yes.
Ali is the Imam that's removed. So that's a verse that's no longer.
No. You didn't let. You completely disregarded what I said towards the end.
No, actually, I just repeated what you said.
No. You repeated the middle of my
just
statement.
repeat it. Just repeat it.
Okay, go ahead, finish it,
I
man.
said the ayah. Alama Majlisi, he states in his book, one of his books, that an ayah, and by ayah he means tafsir. There was clear tafsir, clear commentary on the Quran for a certain ayah that Imam Ali was supposed to be the caliph. But
What
this
ayah?
is tafsir. This is tafsir. It doesn't matter what the ayah is.
No, but hold on. You just confuse it. You just listen to yourself slowly.
I am listening.
You just said tafsir of an ayah, but then you said ayah. So now, is the tafsir the ayah, or is it the tafsir of the ayah? If it's the tafsir of the ayah, what ayah?
The tafsir can be part of the ayah.
Okay, which ayah? Where's
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I just know that
okay, that's fine.
the tafsir is distorted.
You. Okay, that's fine. Okay, because I have read that there are some Shia that do admit there are verses that specifically mention Ali that have been removed. But that's okay. Let's put that aside.
No, we still have them.
You still have those verses?
Yes, we do.
About Ali?
Yes.
In the Quran?
Yes.
Yes, there are many verses about Ali in the Quran.
Give me a couple. I'm not. Would like
33.
Okay, read 33.
Okay, I'll read the second part of it, which goes along with what I'm saying. Verily, Allah intends to keep away from you any impurities of sin, O people of the members, O members of the Prophet's family, and to purify you with thorough purification.
See, you just did the very thing I've been asking you to prove. Number one, there it says the Prophet, and it says family. Okay, and his family. I'm getting there. Apart from these hadiths, how do you know who this Prophet is, and how do you know who the members of his family are? Can you show me that from the Quran?
From the Quran?
Yes.
Not necessarily.
So now if you're going to tell me that the family of your Prophet means Ali and Fatima and Hassan and Hussein, as opposed to the others, like the Sunnis would argue with you, and I don't care about who's right, that's your debate. What source do you have, and what date is this source that identifies who this Prophet is and who are the members of his family? Give me the date of the source that you're going to appeal to. When was it written? What date that tells you who this Prophet was and who the members of his family are?
The oldest source for this?
Yeah, the earliest one you have. Give me the date of it.
Kitab Sulaim, and it's earlier than Sahih Bukhari. It came out within the first century, 714 AD.
Give me the actual source that says it's dated to the 8th century. I'd like to see that.
First century.
First century, that's Jesus' time. First century of what?
First century of the Islamic calendar.
So that's the 8th century. That's 700s.
Okay.
Give me the proof that this manuscript that you have is from that time. Not assertion. Give me the link. Let me see the document. Let me see the actual manuscript, the archaeological data confirming that date.
Okay. You want the actual? I need
proof. I'm not just going to take your word for it. Yeah, I can say anything.
So what would be the requirements of the proof that you're asking?
That the manuscript you have has been dated conclusively to the 8th century, because you don't have any manuscript from the 8th century. You have manuscripts that are from the 10th, 11th, 12th centuries. But you just said you have it from the 8th century. Show it to me. I'd like to see it.
Could I just say one thing? I just want to ask. I haven't. Khadam Naki. We don't know who you are. Could you just introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm a Shia Muslim as well, and I'm a Pakistani.
Okay, good. Well, that's interesting. Pakistani Shia. Okay, I mean, well, yeah, there are Shias everywhere, but usually isn't Pakistani predominantly Sunni?
Yes, they are.
Okay, man. I know that when there's Sunni majority, and anyway, forget it. We have the same problem. Okay, coming back to the issue. What I'm trying to get at here is, here's the point, so you see where I'm going with this. When it comes to Bukhari and Muslim, you question their validity, because not only are they late, but they are compiled by Sunnis. And I'm trying to show you that if you're consistent Bukhari is questionable because there's stuff in it that are not reliable. Even though the Sunnis say that Bukhari rigorously authenticated the hadiths, so they're completely reliable, you still reject that because one of the arguments you would use if you're consistent is, well, Bukhari's too late, meaning he comes over 200 years after reported death of Muhammad, for us to trust that everything he narrated is completely authentic. And we're saying exactly the same problem we have with your sources that are just as late, if not later. So why should we trust your sources that are just as late, if not later?
Okay. We also have another concept of hadith I actually wanted to tell you while we were speaking about Al-Kafi. A lot of our, some of our hadith, I don't know about a lot, but I know there is a hadith that are verbally transmitted, orally transmitted. For example, a man says, I heard from my father, who heard from his father, who heard from his father, who heard from his cousin. We have
and those like names in that chain.
That was their names are in there in chains.
Where do you find their names?
Where do you find their names?
Yeah, how do you know X said to Y, who said to Z? Where did you get that?
Because it's all orally transmitted. For example, let's start off with the first chain transmitter. The first,
where do you get that first chain? How do you know if it's oral? How do you know X? Well, you're not, because I want to know the list of names. Where did you find it? You mean it's floating in space somewhere?
No, so every hadith comes with a sanad.
Sanad, I know. Yeah, and that sanad is written where? That's what I'm trying to get him to say. It's written in that document again that comes 300 years later that you take for granted is authentic. See, you guys don't see. Okay.
No, so we have scholars that examine the names written there.
Examine, and the names are where? Where they examine? Where do they find these names?
They are also orally transmitted.
Okay. How do you know it's orally transmitted? Who told you?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How do you know the Bible is? How do you know the Bible is compiled correctly? How do you know it's not corrupted by Catholic Church?
Can I cut in a little? Can I cut in a little?
Unlike you guys, we have copies of the biblical books, the New Testament, that are from the start of the 2nd century, and we have the writings of the individuals themselves who were disciples of the apostles, not sources that come 300 to 400 years later.
How do you know they're not attributed?
Okay, it's all fraudulent. So we're both agnostic. Don't change the subject. Don't change the subject. Now come back to you. See, nice trick. You're trying to change the subject. Come back to your issue. The oral transmitters, their names. How do you know who their names are? Where is it found? Where'd you find this?
Biographies.
Biographies that are oral or written?
Both.
Okay. So how do you know these oral biographies are actually ancient? Who told you?
Well, this would be mostly the job of Rijal experts. They would check the validity of men existing during the time period, during they would see how they, the period they lived in, their relation to the imam, right?
Okay.
How close they were to the imam. If the guy was never even mentioned at all, if the guy was never even known, we would say that the narrator is unknown, and thus we would call the hadith itself weak.
That's the same thing the Sunni, the same way the Sunnis classify hadiths. What I'm trying to get you to see is even this information. For example, let's make up some names. I'm just going to make up. Tony said he heard from Joey, who heard from Timmy, who heard from Samuel, who heard from Nathaniel. Okay, now that list that I just gave you, that list of names, where do you get that list of names? You get it in that document. That's what I'm trying to get at. Everything you're telling me about the transmitters is coming from a document that's written hundreds of years later. You're not giving me a document that's within the lifetime of Muhammad. Do you have such a document that's from the lifetime of Muhammad? If you don't, let's now talk about the Quran, because we're not going to accept your hadiths, just like you don't accept all of the Sunni hadiths. So let's at least focus on what the Quran says. Let's not bring outside sources, because at least you and the Sunnis agree regarding the Quran. So let's talk about the Quran. Because this hadith, the Sunni hadith, we don't accept Hussein because it's Bukhari. Well, we don't accept your Shia hadith because they're just as late. So let's go back to the Quran. Can we talk about the Quran?
Sure.
Okay, so now let's talk about the Quran. Go to chapter 9, verse 29, if Hussein wants to read it.
9:29. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
get it.
Quoting me your sources that are just as late doesn't prove anything for me. Just like if he quoted Bukhari, which he didn't prove anything for you, because Hussein comes out of a Sunni background, but he quotes Bukhari. Well, we don't accept Bukhari. Yeah, but it's rigorously authenticated, and he's got a sennad, and every person, Rijal in that chain, was thiqqa. He was completely reliable. Oh, well, that's what Bukhari said. See, anyone can play that game. But now let's go to the Quran and discuss what the Quran says, its contents. Chapter 9, verse 29.
To be fair, we can back up our claims about why Bukhari is unreliable.
And then I can bring a Sunni Muslim who can tell you why.
And then we will talk to the Sunni Muslim. It's fine. We will talk to the Sunni Muslim about it.
Okay, well, we'll bring him on. I'll bring Shamsi on, and I'll bring Muhammad Hijab. If they want to come on, they can have a discussion with you. But let's go to chapter 9, verse 29, and read what it says.
Okay, you want me to read it?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, fight those who do not believe in Allah and the last day, nor comply with what Allah and his messenger have forbidden, nor embrace the religion of truth from among those who were given the scripture, until they pay the tax willingly, submitting fully, humbly.
Okay, now, according to this passage, why are the Muslims commanded to fight the people of the book? The verse itself. What does the verse say? The reason is
1 minute.
929. You just read it. Why are the Muslims commanded to fight the people of the book? What's the reason given in the verse?
Because they went against Allah and His Messenger.
How do they go against Allah and His Messenger? What does the verse say?
They didn't believe in them.
Thank you. I respect that. So why are they being fought? Because they rejected Allah and His Messenger and did not forbid what He forbade, right?
Okay.
Do you agree? I mean, it's right there, the verse. I mean, you can read in Arabic for us. It's going to say the same thing.
Yeah,
You agree?
I agree with this verse.
Good. So you're agreeing in front of everyone that the Quran is telling you fight Jews and Christians solely because they don't believe in Muhammad and don't prohibit what Muhammad prohibited. So that means you should be fighting us if you have the military prowess to do so, proving what Hussein had said earlier.
No, we don't.
Okay,
believe
so
in
this
them.
verse again. Let's go through the verse again. What are the reasons why Muslims are to fight the people of the book? The verse, without commentary, meaning Kulaini, Kafi, Bukhari. What does it say? Read it for us.
Yeah, because they don't believe in the Prophet.
Okay, I don't believe in your Prophet. So if you have the upper hand and you have enough military prowess and you have a bona fide leader, someone that you look to as the leader, an imam, whatever, ayatollah, whatever you want to call him, would he then order you, in light of this verse, to fight me, fight Hussein, fight Emmanuel, because we don't believe in Muhammad, we don't believe all of the Quran, we don't prohibit what he prohibited? Not because we attacked you. The verse doesn't say they attacked you. Nor does it say fight them because they attacked you. It doesn't say that. It says fight them because they don't believe like you. So would you then fight us? Because we don't want to believe in Islam. We don't want to believe in Muhammad. We don't want to believe in Allah.
So, a quick question: why are you universalizing this verse? Why should we not read the chapter in its entirety? Why are you universalizing?
And show me where it is particularized. Show it to me. Show me where this passage is particularized to a specific time and place. Where does it say that? It says, fight those who do not believe. So how's it not?
No, but this verse is part of a greater chapter, is it not?
Okay, read it. I'm saying you can read the first 28 verses, and it doesn't change the contextual meaning of 29, because I'm aware of what verses 1 to 28 say. But 29 is now speaking about fighting a different group from that mentioned previously from verses 1 to 28. I'm very familiar with the context. So what in this verse makes it particular to a specific people at a specific time, when verses 30 to 31 actually show you the reason why you're fighting them is because of their beliefs? Because in 30, it goes on to say, And the Jews say Uzair is the son of Allah, and the Christians say that the Messiah is the son of Allah. And in this, they imitate the disbelievers of old. How perverse they are, may Allah fight them. So again, if I read 29, 30, and 31, where does it say in that context that the reason why the Muslims are to fight the Jews and Christians is because they've attacked Muslims, as opposed to attack the Jews and Christians for their belief? Read it for me, 29 and 31. Show it to them, Hussein.
Okay.
So you're at 29, I read 30 and 31. Why the Muslims are to fight Jews and Christians? You got it there, Hussein? Read it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to read it? Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I don't want a Jinn to read it. Read 30 and 31 for me.
Okay. Fight those who do not believe. Oh, you want 30 as well? Okay.
Yeah, no, because you're at 29. Now read 30, 31.
Okay, just 1 second. Let me just go ahead and go up there. Okay. 30 is the Jews say Ezra is the son of Allah, while Christians say the Messiah is the son of Allah. Such are their baseless assertions, only parroting the words of earlier disbelievers. May Allah condemn them. How can they be deluded from the truth?
And then 31.
They have taken their rabbis and monks as well as the Messiah, the son of Mary, as lords besides Allah. Even though they were commanded to worship none but one God, there is no God worthy of worship except him. Glorified is he above what they associate with them.
So where does it say that the reason why Muslims fight Jews and Christians because Jews and Christians attack them physically and threaten them militarily, as opposed to attack them because of their beliefs? So as you're thinking about it, if right now your leader, that the Shia all agree, can lead them to battle, says, go and fight the Jews and Christians because of their perverse beliefs, would you join them and would you be okay with it?
So you're asking me if my imam, my infallible imam, commanded me to, would I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, thank you. Now, you're honest and I respect that. Now when you attack me, does the Quran then allow you, and I hope you're going to be honest in answering this, and I think you are because you're not ashamed of your religion. Now let's say your infallible imam says, okay, go and attack these people in America because of their beliefs. Then you take my women folk captive, even married ones. Do you agree, per chapter 4, verse 24 of the Quran, Surah An-Nisa, that means you can then take my women folk, whether it's my mother or my wife or my daughter, and have sex with them because now they're your property, according to chapter 4, verse 24.
That's
yeah.
Say it. Wait. Yeah, what? Say it.
Yeah, I believe we can take right-hand possessions.
Good. See, now I respect you because you're not ashamed. You just admit in front of everyone that if your infallible imam says, go fight the Jews and Christians because of their belief, not that they attacked you, because of their belief, you would do it, and then you would take my wife or my mother or daughter, and you can have sex with them because you can have right-hand possessions. I'm glad you admit that. So you just admit, even a married woman, you would take her and you'd have sex with her. Excellent. And you see why we despise your religion? Because you just admit you would take my wife and you would have sex with her, committing adultery, and also this would be called rape because no sane woman who's been taken captive would gladly have sex with her captor, especially when her husband's alive. So thank you. This is why we despise your religion.
Okay, but the same thing is in the Bible. What's your point?
Our Bible's corrupt, right? Why are you worried about
No, I didn't say it's corrupt. I asked you if you believe, if you want to apply your logic to this.
In fact, no, actually, no. My Bible does not allow anyone to take a married woman and rape her. Do you want me to answer you? Deuteronomy 21, 10 to 14 shows your Quran pales in comparison because in Deuteronomy 21, 10 to 14, a revelation given 2,200 years before Muhammad, it says, when you are fighting and there's a captive woman, You are to marry her. You don't take her and rape her and then sell her off. You give her the status of a wife, and if you divorce her, you let her go. You cannot sell her. This command was given 2,200 years before your Quran, showing this command is much more morally superior to your Quran. So keep my Bible out of it. Deal with your past.
Are you gonna allow me to refer back to the hadith, or are we still putting the
what hadith?
sanction?
The hadith.
What?
If I give you Bukhari, can I give you Bukhari?
Well, I want to refer back to my. Okay, listen. You brought me up a Quran verse, and I want to use what's hujjah, what's an authority over me to answer your question about this Quran.
What's authority over me is a Sunni hadith, like Sunan Abu Dawud 2150, that tells me that this ayah was given at the Battle of Autas. Does the Shia hadith agree? This was an ayah given in the context of the battle at Autas, where they were married.
I don't know about the specific battle, but I do know when it comes to the fiqh and the rulings about right-hand possessions, it's about the woman's consent.
Where does it say in the Quran the woman has to consent when you own her?
I told you it's the fiqh ruling behind it.
Can you? I would love to see, even though I don't accept your Shia tradition, I want you to show me a Shia tradition on chapter 4, verse 24 that says the woman you've taken captive, you must get her consent to have sex with her.
Yeah.
Because, show it to me. Give it to me.
This falls. I don't have the exact source, but I can tell you what I heard from a knowledgeable person.
Well, give me. I don't care for your opinion. Give me.
So what's your point of debating me? There's no point of this.
Well, let me tell you.
Kulani or Kafi? What happens if I throw away Kulani or
whoever
Kafi?
you want to give me, telling me, and I want you to read it, that chapter 4, verse 24 was revealed and for this occasion. And if you do take a woman captive who's married, get her consent, because no woman in her right mind would consent. Show me that. Give me your sources.
Do you know what? I know you're familiar with muta, right? Temporary marriage.
Oh, that's even worse. I hope you didn't. You shouldn't have brought it up.
How's that even worse?
That was my next one.
The point is, this whole concubinage thing. It's the basis is muta.
This is not concubinage. This is captives.
Captives, yeah. You marry them using muta.
They're your possession. No, muta is temporary marriage. Don't confuse the two.
Okay. Check what I put in chat. Muta.com.
Yeah, I know what muta is.
Muta in the Bible. Okay.
Stop.
This whole thing you're arguing.
I'm going to embarrass you. Give me the verses. I'm going to embarrass you. There is no muta in the Bible. Exodus 21, 7-11. When you misquote my Bible, I'm going to end up embarrassing you.
No, I'm not misquoting. I'm asking you. All right, whatever.
Okay, come back to the issue. Don't change it to the Bible again and run. I'll refute all your distortions of Scripture. Stick with it. Since you mentioned muta. Is muta still binding on the Shia, unlike the Sunnis who say it's abrogated?
What do you mean binding on the Shia Torah?
Meaning you can still do muta. It's one of your rights if you want to do it, unlike the Sunnis who say it's abrogated and it's zinnah.
Okay, so you want me to disregard the thing about right-hand possessions, or do you want me to go into muta?
No, muta is not the same as right-hand possession. Don't play that game with me. Muta
I'm not playing the game with you. I'm telling you what I believe.
You can go to a free woman and say, I'm going to marry you for 3 days and give you money and divorce you. This is a captive. She's your property. She has no choice. You own her. So now, since you brought up muta, let's talk about muta. Don't change the subject. Let's talk about muta. As a Shia, do you agree that you still can enjoy muta, even though the Sunnis say it's abrogated and it's zinnah?
Okay, I believe we can still practice it depending on the intent to marry in the future.
No, that's misyar. That's Sunni tradition.
That's not misyar. That's not Sunni tradition either. Misyar is...
Can you show me... Okay, I'm going to show me your Shia hadith that say that muta can only be done with the intention that it's going to result in permanent marriage when the whole purpose of muta is temporary marriage for a period of time. Show me your sources.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear.
Okay. Can you show me now from your sources that say that muta can only be done with the intention that it results in permanent marriage when the whole purpose of muta, that it's temporary marriage?
Does the scholars say that?
Give me your sources. I want to read it. Bring it to me.
I believe.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so
prove it. Give me your source. Give me a Shia source. Says here's what muta is, and the stipulation is You're going to tell
I
a
don't
woman,
have it at hand.
okay. So go find it now where it says, go find it now where it says a condition for muta for the Shia is, though it's temporary marriage, your intention is to try to make it permanent. Even though muta itself is temporary marriage. That's the whole point of muta. Show me your source where it says that you can only do temporary marriage if the intention is for permanent marriage.
Okay, then it's my own opinion about it. What's the issue?
Okay, so thank you for being honest. And again, you can have opinion, but you're not the one who defines what Shia Islam is. So let's go back with what muta is according to Shia Islam.
Oh.
Muta is I marry a woman temporarily and then I divorce her and I pay her. So you admit that unlike Sunni Muslims who say that muta is abrogated, it's done away.
I can debunk that.
Okay, before you debunk it, hear me out. The Sunni say it's abrogated, it's zina. Unlike the Sunni, you admit and agree, no, it's not abrogated, it's still something we can enjoy, right?
Correct.
Good. Man, I really like you because you're very honest. So let me ask you a very honest question and be honest before God. If I'm a Shia and I come up to your sister, and I'm just giving it, I'm not trying to attack you. I just want you to understand why we who are non-Muslims, when we see this, it disgusts us. If I come to your sister and I say, I want to marry your sister for 3 days, we'll go to the imam, we'll do whatever we need to do, but after 3 days, when I'm done with her, I'm going to divorce her and pay her money.
Wait, just one quick question. Are you a Shia Muslim? Are you assuming that you're Shia?
I'm a Shia. Let's say I'm a Shia.
Okay, so the ruling is if you're temporarily marrying my virgin sister, you must ask our permission. It would be up to my discretion.
So I ask you, and what grounds would you say no?
On what grounds would I say no?
Because muta is being performed in the Shia world. So obviously there are people who are saying yes. So let's not play the game that everyone says no. So let's assume I go to a Shia family and I say to them, I'm going to marry your sister for 3 days and then I'm going to divorce her and pay her. And they say yes. Please convince me you would be okay with someone doing that to your sister or
if my sister's okay with it. If it's with this, yeah.
And you mean a sane woman would be okay with that? A moral woman would be okay with being paid to have sex with a man.
You have to get her permission as well as ours. I can't force her into it.
This is what I'm trying to get at. Which morally sane woman who has any decency would say yes to such a practice when the purpose of the practice is the man to have sex with me, unless the woman herself is a whore who just wants to have sex?
Well, that's the thing. This situation is not common. It won't happen. I guarantee.
It's not common. You're telling me that in predominantly Shia countries where the Shia are the majority, it's not common. Who are you kidding, man? You trying to kid me?
No, I'm not trying to kid you. From what I know,
you're doing it in England. There are Shia in England. One who I spoke to years ago in Paltak is, I'm about to go do muta marriage with someone who wasn't even a Muslim. It was one of these English women, native English woman. He goes, I'm busy. I'll talk to you later. This was on Paltak years ago. I go, what are you doing? I'm going to go do a muta marriage with this English woman. You're doing it all over. You're doing it in England. You're doing it in America. You're doing it in Shia countries. That's
crazy. Because listen, if it's an English woman, it's not a Shia. So your whole analogy was that you're a Shia person asking another Shia person for Shia sister.
Okay, you know why? Because your Quran says you can marry Jews and Christians. Chapter 5:5. So you're telling me you can't do muta with a Jewish woman or a Christian woman?
You can. I'm saying that your analogy is terrible.
Yes, you can. You can.
Thank you. That's all I'm getting at. So you just convinced me. You just made my point. He was doing muta with a Christian girl who was okay with it because she was a Christian by name. Because a decent Christian woman who loves Jesus would say, the hell with you, you satanic bastard. I'm no whore.
It's pretty much prostitution.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that tell you morally? Like what Sam was saying, somebody tells your sister, your own sister, what does your conscience tell you about that?
Well, if I had a sister, I would leave it up to her opinion.
Okay. And you'd be okay with that. Honestly, before God, you'll be okay with your sister.
Say again that, please.
I
Say
think
again
I
what
would.
you said about your sister. Say again what you said about your sister.
I think I would, if I had a sister. I think I would. I would probably see. First of all, I'm not even the wali. It's the father who actually has the permission. But let's say I was the father. Okay, let's change it to my daughter. Um, I think I would probably look at the. I think I would probably look at the qualities of the man. I mean, I, I have that option as well. No, I'm not just. It's not just
Kind of
about
what
the.
qualities, man? The guy's going to only be with your daughter for 3 days. How much qualities can he have for you to look at?
I don't know. I feel like you're very tight on this 3-day analogy.
Okay,
But
6
honestly,
days.
I've
6
never
months.
I've never seen under 6 months. Yeah.
Okay, good. You're okay with someone marrying your daughter for 6 months and then divorcing or paying her?
Yeah.
Come on, listen to yourself.
Yeah, because this
Listen
can
to
always
yourself.
lead to permanent marriage. There's no issue with this.
It's one thing to marry someone for permanent marriage. I'm going to marry her till I die, and it doesn't work out, you divorce.
Okay.
That happens all the time. That's not what muta is. Muta, you're stipulating a time period. I'm going to marry her for 6 months and divorce her. Now, after six
That can
months,
be
I want to
renewed.
extend it for. Come on, dude. Be serious. Be
Yeah, I'm
honest.
being 100%, okay, 100% honest.
Yeah. You okay
From
with
what-
it?
Well, I don't really see a issue how this would destroy our religion, to be honest. But
It destroys a religion because it turns women into whores and prostitutes where you pay them for sex for money. This is legalized prostitution. What do you mean how it doesn't destroy a religion?
No, we believe that prostitution is when someone marries without the intent, without a contract. That is our definition of prostitution.
So you'd redefine prostitution mean if I go sleep with a woman without a marriage contract, but as long as I write a marriage contract saying I want to sleep with you for 6 months, call it marriage, and divorce you and pay you money, and you still don't see that's prostitution. My goodness.
No,
Wow, what-
nowhere in our scripture does it say that that's prostitution.
That's the whole point. That's why we reject your scripture, because if it's from God, who's morally perfect, he would never denigrate women to that level of treating them as sexual meat, as whores, but then disguising it as marriage. Thank you. That's our point.
Okay, all right, I understand what you're trying to say.
All right. So now, the real issue, I mean, if you come down to it, I don't know what you guys were discussing, but the real issue comes down to why would I want to follow Muhammad when I have Jesus, when even in your Quran, Jesus is superior to Muhammad? And I don't believe the Jesus of the Quran is the real Jesus, but you believe it's the real Jesus. Why would I want to follow him when I have the example of Jesus who's morally superior and greater and better than Muhammad could ever be?
well, because you believe he's God, and
No, even if I don't believe
don't
in
know,
God,
I feel
even
like-
if he's a man, even if he's just a man,
Mhm.
even as a man, he's morally superior and better than your prophet, not just from my scripture, from your own Quran, because you believe the Jesus of the Quran is the real Jesus.
Well, am I convincing myself or am I convincing you as a Christian?
Now, I mean, obviously, you want to get us to become Muslim, and especially Shia Muslim. Why
No.
would I want to follow Muhammad?
Well, our job here isn't to make you guys Shias. It's to like clean up misconceptions about all Muslims. For example, the reason I came is because Brother Hosseini was talking about fathas and pronunciation of the Quran.
Okay.
So that's the
Well, I
whole
know
reason
you
I came.
only follow one harf. You only follow one harf. That's you, Shia.
What do you mean when harf?
Oh, we follow. Okay, so we choose Hafs, the Hafs qira'ah, but we don't believe it's perfect. We believe
So,
that it's
good. I'm glad you're saying this. It's on record. So you just said we follow Hafs, but you don't believe it's perfect. So you just admit you don't have a perfect Quran.
Yeah, what's wrong with admitting that we don't have a perfect Quran?
Oh, so you do admit that, because when I said
I admit that.
earlier,
The Sunnis also say this. The
Okay,
Sunnis believe there's
no.
missing Quranic verses.
no, they don't. I agree
I
with
was
you.
Sunni Muslim. We were always taught it was perfect. That's what I was taught.
No, you didn't. You
No,
didn't
no,
read the
Guys,
missing
we
verse
agree
about
with
stoning and.
No, we agree with you that the Sunni sources say the Quran is corrupt, missing parts. But Sunnis are taught, and we can play them, the Quran
right,
is
right.
perfect, every jot, every tittle, nothing missing, perfectly preserved, unlike the Bible corrupt. Okay, But you are Muslims and saying, no, there's no perfect Quran. But then earlier I just said that. I said, so
The only thing perfect is the message of the Quran, which is the message of God to humanity. We don't believe the book is perfect because, firstly, the chapters and some might even say the verses are not in order. That's one thing. What's this on the screen?
Oh yeah, I don't
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah,
So-
we don't believe the Quran is
But
perfect.
you're not. You're talking about Hafs. We're not talking about chapters and verses. We're talking about the Hafs reading of the message. Is the message that you find transmitted by Hafs perfect?
Well, I'm not
We
knowledgeable.
we all we know is, or I don't know about just a layman, but all I know is that there are many nuances to tahrif, distortion, right? What our imams have told us, right? And I don't know if you'll accept this, but what our imams have told us is that whatever we have, follow that. If you have questions, ask us. That's why many of our imams give us interpretations of certain verses, right? For example, in Surah Zukhruf, Ayah 4, we believe that this verse refers to a revered figure rather than simply being a noun, right? But we still follow what we have.
Yeah, I agree. You follow what you have because you have no choice but to follow it. But what you have, you don't believe is perfect. That's what I was trying to get at earlier, and you just finally admitted it.
Well, I said this earlier. I mean, I thought I told this to you earlier. There are many nuances.
If I could just say one thing, you guys, I just want to say that I have a friend. His name is Andrew. His name wasn't Andrew before; it was Ahmed. But he was just like you guys, and he was such a zealous Muslim. And his father was an imam, and he was like, "Yeah, awesome Islam." And then his father married another woman. See, his father was married just to his mother, and then he saw his father marry another woman along with his mother, and he saw how it destroyed his mother.
Yep.
And when he saw how it destroyed his mother, he thought, Allah couldn't possibly want to do this to my mother.
That's wrong.
But I'm just telling you what he said.
Yeah,
He said, I can't believe that Allah would allow this to happen to my mother. You know, that Allah did. And so, you know what he started doing? He started saying, you know what? I think we just don't understand Allah's word. So he started studying. He closed himself off for like 6 months in a room with books, every book. He wanted to find out, did Allah really say this? And he found out at the end, you know what? Allah did say this. And you know what he did? He left Islam. And he's warning other people against Islam because of it. And so you're saying this stuff, this unbelievable. I don't believe the stuff you guys are saying about your own daughters, about your own sisters. I don't believe you're saying this kind of crap, you know. But, you know, you say this now because, you know, your book makes you say it. But if it was ever to happen to you, you can find out how devastating these teachings are.
I am not agree with you. They admit that they will allow that to their sister. They do not care about their own family. That is what the Quran teaching, hate and sex.
No.
That is all about Quran, hate and sex.
In fact, that's what I want to ask you guys. What do you believe about Aisha's age? How old was she when Muhammad married her?
I take the historical standpoint that she was around 17 through 21.
Okay, because that's what I expected. The Shia go with a different age. But now in chapter 65, verse 4, how do you get around the fact in your Quran, 65, verse 4, it's talking about divorce and the iddah, the waiting period. And there you're given scenarios of women who are old, menopause, who don't have periods. How long is their waiting period to remarry? 3 months. And then it talks about girls who haven't had their periods yet. They've been divorced. How long should they wait? And it says 3 months. So in this ayah of the Quran, even if you want to say Aisha 17, you're still left with your Quran allowing Muslim men to marry pre-pubescent, premature minors who haven't had their periods.
Yeah, that's the ruling, but we don't believe that they can consummate them in marriage.
Then you didn't follow the verse, because the verse says the iddah, the waiting period of such a young girl, is 3 months, where in 33:49 says if there's no consummation, there is no iddah for the girl. So you're not paying attention to
no,
the verse.
now you're trying to derive fiqh rulings.
No, read it. This is about the idda, the waiting period for a divorced woman. And then 3349 says the woman who hasn't consummated sex, there is no waiting period. It's not a fiqh ruling. I'm reading the plain meaning of the verses. It's in front of you. 3349, 65:4. Read 3349. Is there any idda waiting period for the woman hasn't consummated marriage? Read it for him. 3349.
Okay, if you're talking that way, then no. As far as I know, I don't know. I could also refer to the scholar that I follow.
Here's what it says. Oh, believers, if you marry a believing woman and then divorce them before you touch them, they will have no waiting period for you to count. Give them a suitable compensation and let them go graciously.
Okay, so there's no waiting period for a woman you haven't touched sexually. But now go back to 65, verse 4.
And in the Arabic, it's the word iddah. It is the same word, iddah. So
65, verse 4.
Okay. And for women past the age of menstruation, in case you do not know, their waiting period is 3 months. And those who have not menstruated as well.
Okay, so did you catch it? The ayah is talking about you got women who are old who have no more periods. How long should they wait if they're divorced? 3 months. What about those who haven't menstruated yet? They too wait 3 months. Well, the only women who do not menstruate yet are premature, prepubescent minors. So your religion allows you to marry premature minors, prepubescent minors, and have sex with them and divorce them that someone else can marry them.
No, now you're slandering. That's what I was trying to correct you earlier. We can marry them, but we can't consummate them.
You're not listening. There is no waiting period for the young girl that you haven't consummated marriage with, and it's
waiting period. No.
Can you reread 3349 for
our you can you can show these verses all you want, but I follow the marja that I follow, Sayyid Sistani. He gives a clear ruling on the various waiting periods.
Goes against the Quran. Okay.
No, it's not going against the Quran.
Yes, it is. 65 verse 4. Friend, what do you not see? 3349 says there is no waiting period for the woman you haven't consummated marriage with. And 65:4 is talking about those women who have been divorced. What is their waiting period? Meaning they have been touched sexually. I mean, what do you not see? You can give me Sistani and Merawani. I'm giving you the Quran.
I don't know what context this verse is being revealed in. I don't know.
Okay, well, read verses 1
what our Imam said about this either. We have to go into
we don't just read verses before and after. That doesn't. I'm literally making commentary.
Go to Kulaini Kafi. Read them. Give me their commentary on this. I want to see.
Kulaini in Al-Kafi.
I can go to Tafsir Qummi if you would.
Okay, go open it up for me. Read it for me. See what he says about verse 4. Read it and show us the link so we can see it for ourselves as well. By the way, Emmanuel, let me know sometime in February to bring you on to share your testimony.
Yeah. Emmanuel is a sinner.
Say it again? I can't hear you.
Wow. I said Emmanuel is a sinner.
Yeah, he is. We all are. He needs to learn how to speak. I'm just kidding. Okay, he's going to read Tafsir Qumi for us on 65:4. Who's Shah Sayyid, this guy? Who's this guy? Is he a Sunni?
He's not as, I think he's a Sunni. So.
Oh, okay. Well, no, we don't want the Sunnis and the Shias to go at it. Let's just stick with the Shia for now, and then we can talk to him later. Yeah, just hold on, because I don't want him and the Shia to go at it. You got a Sunni, and then they're going to go at it.
Oh, don't worry, we won't.
No, I'm worried about him starting a debate. We don't want to debate This is not for Sunni and Shia to debate. We can talk to them when we're done here.
Shah, are you a Sunni or a Shiite?
He's a Sunni. Most of the Shahs, they're mostly Sunni.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want. Yeah, well, he can come on when they're done. Whenever they want to finish, we'll bring him on. We'll talk to him because then we can go to Bukhari and Muslim, and he can't reject them.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure me and Alamdar, we're in the similar time zone, so we might leave soon.
Okay, whenever you guys need to go and come back.
Yeah, are you guys having the same? Are you guys gonna do the same thing tomorrow night? Inshallah.
God willing.
God willing.
God willing.
Yeah, thank you guys for being good hosts. We really appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to leave you hanging or anything. But I was looking through Tafsir Qummi, but they didn't have a commentary on the verse.
Okay.
But if I find something else,
okay, I know you're gonna fear Allah. Come back tomorrow. See, because I know you're not gonna lie. You're gonna go find me a commentary on 65:4. You're gonna bring the link to us tomorrow, God willing, and shut up. We're gonna see if they agree. These are prepubescent girls who've had sex, which is why they have to have a waiting period, because the Quran is clear. There is no waiting period for those women that you haven't had sex with. So get it for us tomorrow, God willing. We'll be here. Inshallah.
All right, me and Alamdar, we will try our best.
All right, guys.
I will always be here. I will also be here tomorrow.
All right, inshallah, we'll see you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for being good hosts. I honestly appreciate the hospitality. May God bless all of you guys. May whatever deity you worship bless you guys. Jazakallah khairan. Barakallah fiik.
All right. May the Lord Jesus guide you. Take care, guys.
You guys have a good night.
All right. Okay, now you want to deal with Shah? Saeed? Is that where you want to go?
Start getting all these Shiites. I've been begging the Sunnis to come on. I have 14 of them here that I want to get on. None of them come, but all the Shiites. The Shiites are braver than Sunnis, you guys. You see?
At least they're honest, man. Hey, I gotta get
They're very respectful, honest, yeah. Anyway, so you want me to stick around with Shah, or do you want me to go back to my?
Shah, I sent you an invite. If you want to come on, come on. You can have it out with Sam if you like.
Yeah, because I was talking about John 17:3, but I'll wait, and that's good. See, so then if he's not coming on, then what you're gonna do? If you're done, then you're gonna come join me on my stream and listen to me talk about John 17.
Okay. Let's see if he comes on. Shah, are you going to come on? Yeah. I sent you the invite, bro.
Yeah. Black Mama was getting animated. Yeah, see, look, they have no respect for the sisters.
How could you?
Dude, it's like the stuff they were saying. And I think they're in the West someplace. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I hope they could think about what they said. Going back to the Surah 929, I hope they could really just dive and think about what they just said. Mm-hmm. Is that okay? Even for me, as a Muslim, I was like, this is bothering me. Kill them because they don't believe.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
So
and you see what I did, right? Because we're at a disadvantage, we don't have their hadith collections translated. So then you got to use a different approach with them.
Yeah.
And the right line of questioning.
You see, that's why I called you, man, because I just said, dude, all of a sudden, all these Shiites, all of a sudden we got 3 Shiites come in, and I'm thinking, dude, he's like, I'm not that well equipped. We were talking about the Fatha, you know, and it was just like, dude, I'm not really equipped to deal with these guys. I gotta brush up on my Shia info, man.
Yeah.
And by the way, but you heard them. You got them on record now. They don't believe the Quran is perfect. They said it.
That was amazing, man.
Yeah.
I know the Shia are told the Quran you have today is incomplete. And there are verses that have been removed, but they use taqiyya to tell Sunnis, no, we believe the Quran is perfect because they want to avoid persecution. Mm. Anyway, I like that. So I don't think this guy's coming, right?
Yeah.
If he comes, text me because I'm going to go back to do John 17. So if he's not coming on, if you want to wrap it up and send your people to my channel to make my channel better than yours, then I'll appreciate it.
Amen.
All right. Anyway. If he's coming, let me know. Text me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. It was awesome.
God bless you, brother.
Great. Yeah. It was great, and it was, I think.
Thank you, brother Sam.
Amen. I'll see you guys. I'm going to go to John 17, the only true God.
All right. I'll let you